reaching 30 years of life as an organization is no small feat. And we're here to celebrate this landmark together today. Also, to look at the upcoming decades with the certainty that the work that we do is profoundly needed in the midst of the multiple crises that are transforming our world. We need healthy forests to build a future in which we all live well. And that's what analog forestry is teaching us to do.
So welcome to the 30th celebration of the International Analog Forestry Network. We are Isabelle MacDonald and Virginie de Zetter from the IFN Secretariat, and together with our beautiful team, we will be your hosts today. We are overjoyed to be accompanied today by IFN founders, partner organizations, accredited trainers, promoters, our donors, all friends and analog forestry practitioners from all over the world. Thank you for joining as we celebrate this journey, which bloomed with the seeds sown in the early 80s in Sri Lanka by Dr. Ranil Senanayake. We are honored by everyone's presence. Our session today will last up to 2 hours. Our agenda is packed, colored by snapshots of IFN's history from the 80s to now, a launch of our global AF video, a collaboration with both ends, and a forest gala prepared for you. We will also share key results from our Global Restore Fund grants provided by grantees who have shared their stories and data, some of which you will soon see represented later in our gathering by means of a very special art piece that was created collectively.
So let's begin this gathering by connecting to the beauty and the energy that only a living, breathing forest can give. Let's have a walk in Velipola in Sri Lanka, where the seeds that Dr. Ranil first planted have now bloomed into a beautiful analog forest, the oldest one in the world. May this vision connect us in celebration of what we have built over 30 years and all the future ecosystems that we are bringing back to life for our common future.
It's humbling to me to realize that a system that was originally designed to help create habitat for frogs, for snakes, for lizards, for birds, as you can hear them now, right, has now blossomed and become an umbrella for humanity to face the oncoming climate changes and the challenges is going to bring. So that is how I see it. I'm also grateful for all those practitioners of analog forestry who have participated in this endeavor with the International Analog Forestry Network. In all forests of the world, trees account for only 1% of the biodiversity of that forest, even though it gives shelter and encompasses everything. But to lose fact of the diversity of a forest is to lose the identity of a forest. And hopefully with analog forestry being analogous to the original forest, it will help all of us to see beyond just planting trees as forestry. For the future, for the movement to grow, for people to exchange ideas and experiences, what was successful, what was not, we require a network. And for that network, we have the International Analog Forestry Network founded 30 years ago, growing like a robust tree in a forest to spread its branches to the rest of the world, and I wish them the very best for the future.
Ranil is also here with us, despite the fact that it's 1 a.m. in Australia right now. So we want to give him the floor to say hello and to compliment with anything else that you would like to say. Go ahead, Ranil.
Thank you, Virginie. Good morning, all. It's early in the morning, but I'm so pleased and so proud to see all of you gathered because with analog forestry, I believe that we have a chance to do two things. One is adapt to the coming future, which is going to be climate compromised. We have to be able to react and adapt. Secondly, we have to look at the forest itself and the ecosystem services it produces as a new source of wealth for rural people. And analog forestry can help us realize the value of the ecosystem services that a forest gives. Finally, I would like to leave all of you with this thought. We spoke about trees, we speak about the soil, but we must understand that there is trees and the soil are the same system. They're integrally interconnected. Without a living soil, trees and plants above cannot exist. Without trees and plants above, a living soil cannot exist. This integral and essential relationship is the new area that I would like all of you who are practicing analog forestry to look at into the future to come. I wish you all well. Good luck, everyone. And if you have any questions after your meeting, Virginie can send them on to me and I will be happy to respond. Good morning, all.
Thank you so much, Ranil. It was really beautiful to have you today on our 30th celebration. Couldn't have been possible without you, and this is your legacy. So thank you for getting up so early or late in the morning. And now we are going to give the floor to Bastien Beaufort, who is the president of the IFN Board of Directors, for some words of introduction.
Merci, Virginie. Thank you very much. It's a great honor and pleasure, first of all, to chair this very important board of directors and such an amazing network. I'm so pleased to see people from all over the world, and also I'm so pleased to and honored to speak after Ranil. And also I shall mention Lorena as we speak about the founders, the foundations of our networks, because I met them when I was a child, I think. I had the chance to be almost raised in this analog philosophy thanks to my travels to Sri Lanka and Brazil, mainly because here we have all over the world, and I feel this international DNA of our network is fundamental and key because we live in a moment also which will be socially worrying, and there is nationalism and even localism, and the tendency to forget international solidarity is very strong. And the fact that we are a family of people living in very different realities, I think we have about 25 countries from the 5 continents represented here, according to me, is fundamental. And this is a strength we shall cultivate for the future. And you know, the continent from where I'm talking, and especially France and Paris, which is a town, I think we shall be the priority to ourselves restore our lands and soils. And we maybe the regions where our land have been so heavily contaminated that, for example, in my country, we speak about eternal polluants. So the forest is the way to clean this. It will take some time because it's also here, our continent in Europe, the place where we invented this separation of nature and culture. And this is so difficult to change this mind and speak about anthropogenic forest, to speak about biodiversity as the key identity for forest. It's very difficult, but we will achieve to change this vision, I'm sure, with you. And we also need this international vision for transferring the economical richness, which is now detained in the Western countries, whereas the tropical regions detains the biological diversity. So we shall find new alliances. And I invite you as a network to think about new models, new alliances that will enable this transfer of richnesses in an international justice vision. And I think we need to build this oxygen economy of which Ranil speaks so much about, like, which is the idea of how we can give a value and how we can build an economical model that will sustain the rural people and afford them to be paid for the work they are doing in restoring ecosystems. And this is really fundamental as an economy. So what makes our great difference is this biodiversity aspect. It's also cultural. We can see it in our network, in our reality. And yeah, I wanted to share at the invitation of Virginie, the Secretariat, one example of this diverse approach we have with the Restore Fund, which are also called the seed grants, of which of you have participated, which are a more decentralized way of financing analog forestry programs. It's an alliance the IFN created with Bosens, one of our main partners historically. And what's interesting, I would like to underline, is that almost the 2/3 of the projects are women led. And we all know here, we have a lot of case studies that programs led by women in the world are better managed than programs led by men. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the reality. So we shall continue. And almost half of the beneficiaries are indigenous people. And when we talk about biodiversity, indigenous people and knowledge cannot be put apart, as cultural diversity is linked with biological diversity. This is biodiversity. And today it's a moment of change because we cannot rely as EIFN on any company, any organization, or any government. And this is the reality for any organization today, given the instability we face. So we need to find new ways of being autonomous in our network. So this is also the reflection I invite you to have. And yes, once again, happy birthday to everyone, to the foundation, the followers, the roots and the fruits that will come. I'm sure there will be many more, as analog forestry every day represents more and more a path, a hope for all of us that tied us in this, in this vision and practice. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And let's have a great meeting and celebration today.
Thank you so much, Bastien, for these beautiful words. Both Bastien and Ranil, I think, have brought us to speed with the tone of the celebration. And now we are going to dive in. I want to give the floor to some protagonists of the IFN's history, for them to tell us about 4 decades of analog forestry and 3 decades of the IFN, of our network. So Lorena, will you do us the honor and start telling our story?
Thank you very much, Virginie, and thank you for being here. It is an honor for me actually to be part of this celebration after 3 decades of working and accompanying this process, and really very happy to see that how the family of analog forestry has grown so much, and there are so many fruits. So this is the story of analog forestry starting in the 80s, where the first seeds are planted, laying the foundations of the methodology. In 1981, Belipola estate was purchased by Ranil as a response to the challenge put by the government of Sri Lanka, who were planting monocultures of pinus, eucalyptus, and teak. He then started testing his initial ideas of analog forestry and forest gardens on the ground. Later on, the NGO Neosynthesis Research Center was created and supported the initial establishment of the first analog forestry in the world at Belipola. In 1987, for the first time, a magazine of the Food and Agriculture Organization in Bangkok publishes the paper Analog Forestry as a Conservation Tool. In 1994, during a meeting of the Intergovernmental Committee of the Convention on Biological Diversity, Ranil exposes his ideas on analog forestry to an international group of participants who expressed interest in learning more about this restoration concept, following up with communications and developing ideas after the meeting. Later on, at a meeting in Madre de Dios, Peru, the idea of creating a network, what is happening? Is discussed, and representatives of 5 organizations, Neosynthesis Research Center in Sri Lanka, Fallsbrook Center, Canada, that, by the way, I'm really missing Jean Arnold, who was really a keystone in the creation of this network, and I hope she will have connected, but I mentioned her especially. She really supported this. Fundación Rainforest Rescue Furare from Ecuador, Arbophilia Costa Rica, and COICA Peru become the founding organizations of what is to become our international network. This is followed by the United Nations recognizing the methodology as optimal for biodiversity recovery at the open-ended intergovernmental meeting of scientific experts on biodiversity in Mexico. In 1995, the first International Analog Forestry Workshop is held in Sri Lanka with the support of the Canadian organization SEMA, followed by 2 more workshops in Arbophilia, Costa Rica, and at Belipola in Sri Lanka. During this period, the first forest garden certification also happens in the indigenous land of the Sateremaué and the Andira Marau territory in the Amazon rainforest of Brazil. In 1998, the book An Introduction on Analog Forestry is published by Monash University, Melbourne, by Ranil Senanayake and John Jack. So this is the first part of the IFN's history. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorena, for this beautiful story of how everything started. And for the next decade, we have Chris Criollo from our board of directors, who is going to tell us a bit more.
Thank you. I mean, I'm a board member, but I'm a proud board member of this amazing network. Okay, so from the 2000s, the network grows and gains traction and support. In 2000, the creation of the Analog Forestry Network of the Americas with support from Paul Brooks Center. In 2005, and I was there, the International Analog Forestry meeting in Ecuador with support from both ends. This meeting was, I remember, in Flaxo, one of the universities in Ecuador. And we were well, I think it was 10 or 12 people trying to, figure it out how it's going to be the bylaws of the analog forestry, where is going to be the place that we're going to create the network. It was in Ecuador, in Costa Rica. And so that was a very great discussion about how it's going to be this new structure of the analog forestry network. And then in 2008, 2010, participation in the International Network of Model Forests for Latin American Initiative with support from Canadian International Development Agency. This was in Costa Rica, Honduras, and Dominican Republic. I think this is the part where the demonstration sites start. And from that, I think we increased these demonstration sites. I don't know exactly what is the number now, but that was the start for the demonstration sites. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Chris. And now for the next decade, I will share a video on the screen because we have Eric, who is also a proud member and a board member of the IFN, but he is in Cameroon and his internet connection is a bit challenging right now. So he will present the 2010s from the distance.
Hello, greetings and welcome. We see Eric from Sendep in Cameroon. I will briefly talk about the courses, campaigns, strategic partnerships, and the global growth of analog forestry. Over the past 3 decades, the International Analog Forestry Network has evolved from a small movement into a vibrant community of restoration practitioners. By 2010, the first Ecuador network of analog forestry was created in Mashpi, setting a model for national coordination and learning. In 2011, the board of directors established the International Analog Forestry Network Secretariat in Costa Rica, which remains our permanent base, staffed by a dedicated and dynamic team ensuring continuity and global outreach. In 2012, the IAFN joined the Rich Forest Initiative, a powerful collaboration with both ends and the Non-Timber Forest Products Exchange Program. This partnership is linked to biodiversity conservation with the restoration of degraded forests, thus bridging ecological integrity and local livelihoods. By 2015 and 2018, the International Analog Forestry Network strengthened capacity through training of trainers program in Ecuador, Costa Rica, Paraguay, and at accredited training centers. The courses empowered local trainers, communities, and organizations to apply analog forestry principles in their own landscapes. From 2016 to 2020, the IAFN joined the Global Alliance of Green and Gender Action, deepening our commitment to gender and social justice in environmental action. In the same period, a strategic alliance with Fond de Cure expanded our impact by linking forest restoration with community livelihoods. Over time, analog forestry has become a truly global practice, spreading across Latin America, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Each new partner and training center brings unique ecological and cultural knowledge to the network. A major milestone came in 2014 when the Forest Garden Product Certification Standards were recognized under the IFWAM family of standards. These international recognitions affirmed that global benchmarks for sustainability and ecological integrity. Today, our network continues to grow, connecting hundreds of organizations and thousands of practitioners committed to restoring degraded lands and revitalizing forest economy. Thank you for your kind attention. I made this in advance as electricity and internet connectivity in my area is very poor. Have a nice day and enjoy the 30th anniversary of the International Analog Forestry Network. Let's join hands in bringing back our lost forests and healing Mother Earth. Nice day to all of us.
Thank you, Eric, for your beautiful words. As you can see, well, as you know, we are an international network um, working in many different areas of the world and dealing with the different conditions that we have, but we always make it work. It's part of who we are also. And now I'm going to give the floor to Tatiana Espinosa, who is the Vice President of the AFN Board from Peru, to tell us about the decade that we are in, the 2020s. If you are listening in English, you can switch to the English channel of interpretation because Tatiana is going to speak in Spanish.
Hola, hola con todos. Feliz de estar aquí y de hablar de esta última década. Yes, I'm going to speak in Spanish. Bueno, a partir del año 2020 ampliamos la acción climática con el liderazgo de mujeres. Esa fue una de las características de a partir del año 2020. Em, entonces, comenzamos con pandemia. En respuesta a la crisis pandémica, se adaptó el programa de capacitación hacia el fortalecimiento de capacidades de manera virtual. Y así hemos logrado hacer capacitaciones virtuales durante todo el 2020 y apoyando y conectando a promotores y promotoras de forestería análoga en todo el mundo. Luego, algo muy lindo también que surgió justo en esta época de crisis pandémica es la iniciativa de los biotiquines. Esto se lanzó y se implementó como respuesta a la crisis y los biotiquines contienen plantas medicinales con efectos comprobados para mantener y recuperar la salud de manera natural. Esto se compartieron, estos módulos de plantas, eso se hizo en Ecuador y fue una iniciativa súper bonita que impactó en muchos hogares. Siguiendo ya en el año 2023 se crea el programa de pequeñas subvenciones para restauración con forestería análoga y hasta la fecha se han apoyado ya 80 proyectos liderados por las comunidades en América Latina, en Asia y en el África. Estas subvenciones son otorgadas directamente, ¿no? A las organizaciones, a los capacitadores o promotores de forestería análoga y es un gran apoyo después de haber capacitado o de haber mostrado resultados en sus parcelas, el obtener este financiamiento directo para continuar sus labores. Así que ese es un tema interesante y muy importante. Luego está el trabajo que se viene realizando con Gaga, el cual se centra en la acción climática liderada por mujeres. Em, bueno, nada, con Gaga se vienen mejorando los vínculos y la colaboración entre las organizaciones comunitarias ambientales y de justicia climática para impulsar nuestras agendas también de incidencia hacia soluciones de mitigación o de adaptación al cambio climático. Y así amplificar el liderazgo, sobre todo, liderazgo y resiliencia, sobre todo de mujeres, ¿sí? Y promover el tema de los derechos y de la equidad. Em, con miras hacia el 2030, creo que se seguirá trabajando en esos temas de abordando las crisis a nivel climático, a nivel mundial, y también resaltando la labor tanto de mujeres como de comunidades también y estratos que son más vulnerables. Creo que por ahí va también el enfoque de poder poner esta incidencia hacia los vulnerables, hacia quienes van a sufrir más las incidencias del cambio climático, empoderándolos y teniendo muy buenos resultados con sus parcelas. y continuar también con las subvenciones de los fondos. Gracias, gracias y felicidades, Rifa. Gracias por todo.
Thank you all for sharing this amazing timeline. To share our story with a broader audience, as you can imagine, it is not easy to condense all these years, success stories, and relationships across the globe in a video to portray our movement as it flourishes now. However, with the support and collaboration of our partner and donor, both ends, in the Netherlands, we are happy to now share with you the launch of our global analog forestry video.
Thank you. And we are going to project the video on the screen, but we are also going to send you a link in the chat if you wish to look at it through your own screen, because sometimes internet connection makes it break a little bit. So, and you can choose the subtitles in your language also, in Spanish or in French. You can go onto YouTube and watch it on your own, or you can stay and enjoy it together. It's just a 5 minutes video. I can also see some raised hands right now. Don't worry, we will have a bit of time for exchange and for participation at the end of the session. Now I will show the screen with the video. Enjoy and get to know our work a little better.
When we look at the state of our planet, it can feel pretty hopeless. We know.
If you ask us, we are not giving up anytime soon.
It's still time to make a change. Come and see for yourself.
Across the globe, we are using analog forestry to learn from nature itself and bring ecosystems back to life, led by local communities and organizations. What is analog forestry? It's a methodology that teaches us how to design ecosystems that are analogous or similar to mature, climax local ecosystems. Ecological succession is the process that allows for biodiversity to increase and progressively transforms an ecosystem until it reaches a climax state. With analog forestry, we leverage this natural succession, increasing biodiversity while improving livelihoods and supporting local leadership. But how does it work exactly? Number 1, observe and describe a local mature ecosystem. Look for a mature and well-conserved ecosystem that you can study and learn from. This will be your reference. Number 2, compare this mature ecosystem to the place that you want to restore. The difference between both ecosystems will tell you what is missing and guide your work. 3, engage the community to create a database about local species and their functions. Take this time to really listen and learn. Invite the community elders, the women, the local collectives to share knowledge about the plant species and their functions. 4, create your AF design with both people and nature in mind. When creating the design for the AF site, make space for collective decisions about how to manage the land. You may organize and select plant species for shadow or water retention, to increase biomass on a tea or cacao plantation, and the list of possibilities goes on. 5, maintaining and monitoring. Analog forestry is a long-term work. Once the design is set in place, you can look forward to long years of a beautiful, fruitful, deepened relationship between the land and its stewards.
Buena técnica porque ya estoy recuperando el suelo degradado, ya voy a tener agua y ya no voy a tener mucha erosión del suelo.
If we have learned something after 30 years of practicing analog forestry and observing nature, it's the power of connections. Just like mycelia that connects all life forms in forests from underground, we have become an international organization connecting grassroots efforts across the globe. The International Analog Forestry Network, IFN, is a global South-based organization that strives at multiplying the impact of analog forestry through capacity building and implementation with partner organizations in 5 continents. The IFN Restore Fund is one of our key strategies to support local organizations in their efforts to implement analog forestry, foster bonds of solidarity and advocacy, and develop infrastructure such as tree nurseries and others. With this small grants program, we make sure that funding reaches local communities to invest in their own restoration projects, with support and connections to our international community. Up to June 2025, we have supported projects from collectives, organizations, women's groups, communities, and families in 20 countries through 80 seed grants, training, and technical support.
We support analog forestry in various ways. Firstly, as in financing, so as a financing mechanism to make sure money ends up in the hands of these locally led initiatives, of people who lead these initiatives. One of the programs being GAGA, which is the Global Alliance for Green and Gender Action. The role of analog forestry in GAGA has been that it contributes to adaptation, mitigation, resilience, but also livelihoods in the context of climate change. The International Analog Forestry Restore Fund is one of the most promising examples of social environmental funds to making sure that money ends up in the hands of local groups. We see that with these funds, local women and local communities can design their own landscapes, design their forests, producing food at the same time, and also making sure that it has access to the local markets. I am very amazed about the work that they're doing and the impact it has. Small money, big impacts really counts for the International Analog Forestry Network.
As we said earlier, we are not about to give up on our planet. Analog forestry is good for nature, good for the economy, it upholds rural women's voices, and transforms our food production systems. Join us in shaping systemic change for the future. Be part of the movement.
Be part of the movement. Sé parte del movimiento. Sé parte del movimiento.
Sé parte del movimiento.
Sé parte del movimiento.
Be part of the movement.
We hope that you enjoyed this short version of a longer video that we will also share with you all. This from now on becomes a tool for you to advocate for analog forestry in all of your spaces. So please freely use it in anywhere that you might need it. You will also have access to the long video very soon. And now that we have remembered our history and also taken a stroll across the globe, we want to invite you to a symbolic forest gala. This is a space to celebrate the invaluable contribution of every single organization, collective, organization, family, business that has made us who we are today. And for this ceremony, I will give the floor to our dear colleague, Lubica Bogantes.
Thank you very much, Virginie. Hello, everyone. So it is a great honor for me to introduce you to this Forest Gala. As we could see now in the video, but also in the history of IAFN, analog forestry has taken root across continents and cultures. And it's restoring not only ecosystems, but truly the relationships between people and the land. And I think in all our stories, and everyone who has been sharing now some short words, I could personally feel a strong connection to this methodology that goes beyond work. It is truly a community building. And as Milo always inspires us, saying it is a lifestyle. And so in this section of Forest Gala, IFN wants to honor these roots and dedication of our partners who build bridges, our training centers that nurture learning, our trainers who guide us, and our practitioners who inspire us, as well as our donors and allies who support these roots and fruits. Together, we form a living network. It's diverse, resilient, it's growing, towards a future where forests and communities thrive as one culture, as Bastien mentioned earlier. And so moving to the next slide, please. Okay. As we gather under the canopy of connection, we want to give the first tribute to our partners. Our partners are the heart of IAFN, of our network. Together, they weave the living mycelium that connects, nourishes, and strengthens the global forest restoration. Mycelium is the vast underground network of fungal threads that connects and nourishes life in the forest, enabling communication and exchange between plants, as you may know. Similarly, our partners are creating an unseen yet vital web of connections that shares knowledge, nurtures growth, and sustains the life of our global network. And so the Mycelium Award goes to our currently 41 partner organizations for leading change all over the global south, for supporting each other and sharing knowledge via courses, trainings, many workshops, and other encounters, connecting grassroots efforts across the globe, working hand in hand with local communities, building together a livable future, and supporting women's leadership in the territories. Congratulations to all our partner organizations. And with the next slide, I invite Adriana Pal, our local coordinator for Latin American and Caribbean region, to present the next award.
Thank you, Luby. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So here are the images of some of the highlights in the region of Latin America and the Caribbean. In the image of the top left, you can see our dear trainer, Tatiana Espinosa, who is also the vice president of the board of directors, during the in-person course in Paraguay we had this year with the indigenous community Itaguazu, which she facilitated together with our promoter, Lorena Cuevas. At the top right, you can see participants of the in-person course held in Guatemala with our partner organization, ADINOR. And then on the bottom left, you can see an aerial view of our demonstration site in Costa Rica, located at Finca El Jícaro, which was supported by our trainer, Diego Irigoyen. In the bottom right, you can see Marisol, who is here actually from Ecuador, planting trees with children from the local community. She's one of the recipients of the 2025 Restore Fund, actually. And along her, 9 other projects were also selected in Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Peru, Paraguay, and Chile. Now to the next slide, I have the honor of presenting this award called the Chihuahuaco, known as Dipteryx micrantha, named after an Amazonian tree known for its hardwood and remarkable longevity. It is a resilient and majestic species, serving as a habitat for countless forest creatures and standing as a powerful symbol of strength and endurance in our ecosystems. So I give this award to our partners, trainers, training centers, sites, projects, and practitioners in Latin America and the Caribbean for growing steadily from roots to fruits since the creation of the network, for creating branches in each country, for restoring the habitat of endangered plants and animals, for connecting ecological restoration to social and gender justice, for standing strong and creating new models based on indigenous and communal knowledge, and for fostering solidarity and learning together. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And I think many of you have a very personal, intimate relationship with Chihuahuacos and dedicate them life and work. So I hope this was a very special moment. And now we are going to invite Sharada Ramadas, our local coordinator in Asian region, to please guide us through the Forest Gala in Asia.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Asia. The pictures you see here are but a sneak preview of how Asia has embraced analog forestry, made it its own, and is forging ahead with communities towards a future that supports building resilience towards climate change for people and planet. So if you look at the pictures from the top left, you see the indigenous communities in India, in the south of India, and the Nilgiri Highlands, working on their nursery saplings within a protected area where people, tigers, and elephants all call it home equally. And the top right image that you see is our young and old, enthusiastic bunch of competent, experienced trainers at Sri Lanka who call Sri Lanka home, and this beautiful place that you see back in the backdrop being the Belipola, the birthplace of analog forestry that we spoke. And the two images below are our indigenous communities. The bottom left, whether it is the Matigsaluk in Philippines, or the bottom right, which is a lot of indigenous communities across various states of India, all of them being inclusive about including youth, women, men, even children, the whole family work on the analog forestry projects and call it their own and make it their own. Yes. Behold in this picture the magnificence that is the ficus species, a wide variety of majestic and graceful trees that are keystone species in their ecosystems. Mostly a tropical forest native, they also adapt to temperate regions, at least some of them do. And much like how analog forestry in Asia is regenerating across diverse ecosystems in Asia, whether it's the montane forests of Nepal and Philippines, to the plains in Indonesia, from the tropical Sri Lankan forests to the temperate Mongolian ecosystems. Ficus are actually unique in how they grow, fruit, flower, or even get pollinated. And as keystone species, wherever they occur, they provide food all year round, habitat for numerous species, and have a significantly positive impact on their ecosystem, even creative communities around themselves. Very similarly, you will find our strength in Asia lies in our passionate women's collectives, their leadership and empowerment. And much like the ficus, our practitioners bring together a community deeply rooted in a common bright future that includes all and provides for all, respecting land and its health, while also enabling food sovereignty for the local community. The ficus are known to live hundreds of years, seamlessly transitioning human timelines. And our practitioners follow the way of the ficus, building the wisdom of traditional knowledge of ancient lands into modern approaches with able leadership from communities that are inclusive of indigenous people and women, like you saw in the images. Some ficus can grow massive crowns spanning acres, like you find some in India. They are able to do this because they're supported by numerous prop roots in an analogous way, like Ranil would say. The analog forestry movement in Asia is supported by experienced, competent trainers and committed practitioners, building together an ageless and timeless knowledge base for the planet's health. To this passionate, productive, beautiful collective of humanity in Asia that includes our partners, trainers, sites, training centers, projects, and practitioners, we present with immense joy, gratitude, and humility the Ficus Award. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shara, for taking us through the Asian region and sharing in a very poetic way all the impacts that have been done there. And so now we turn our eyes to Africa, and I invite Perry to introduce the award here.
Thank you so much, Louis, for giving me the floor. And I want to thank everybody for taking off time to join us in celebration of 30 years of across the world and in Africa especially. On the picture on the top left, you find myself, my humble self, and one of our key practitioners in Uganda, Madame Nalongo, with her beautiful weaved baskets, which she produces from the work that she has been doing and that we've been supporting. So it shows an example of the products that can actually come from the analog forestry work that we do with her out there in central Uganda. The picture in the middle is one of our key trainers from Eric, who was doing observation and recording of a rehabilitated site in one of our areas, villages here in the southwest region in Cameroon. That site actually belonged to one of our partners, Tropec, which was destroyed recently. And so we Our trainer, Eric, went there to evaluate the site and see what database or what tree species can be put to rehabilitate that area. On the far right there, you find our practitioners in East Africa. Uganda, we have a lot of practitioners in East Africa, Uganda, in Kenya, as well as in the Southern Africa region in Zimbabwe. The picture below are our women. I remember, Bastien, you mentioned women succeeding more in restoration work. So we lay a lot of emphasis working with women to restore our forests. They do a lot of work. They come, they are the ones that work on the land often. So women play a very key role in our restoration work. And of course, in our gender just climate actions, we put a lot of emphasis on the work that women do. And so we had to honor them by representing them, as you see in our beautiful pictures. Thank you so much. The Kola Nut Award goes to our partners, our training centers, sites, projects, and practitioners in Africa, the Kola Nut tree. This is a very, very important tree grown in our communities, especially in Central and West Africa. The tree is a very large tree that has a very large crown, and it has a very traditional, very traditional significance in our local communities. If you visit someone and he or she offers you a kola nut, it means you are valued as a visitor in that community. So the tree has traditional significance in our local communities. The fruit has been traded and has used to be traded from time immemorial in along West and Central Africa for a very, very long time. And so it has some very huge economic also significance to our communities. And that is why we took time to select the kola nut tree to represent and symbolize the work that all our practitioners, all the trainers, as well as our projects have been doing in the African sub-region. And so with humility, we offer them the kola nut tree. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barry, for your beautiful words. And so for this next region, we are going to turn our eyes to the United States and Europe, because we have also been active in recent years, more and more on these continents. And so here in the pictures, you can see mainly images from recent in-person course in temperate mid-Atlantic region with organization called CHEERS. It's our partner organization now, Chesapeake Education, Arts and Research Society. And with other partners as well, we were able to organize in-person course as well as two virtual courses for mainly participants in the US, but also this year with support to international participants and interns. So we are really connecting also and providing support to participants, for example, in Kenya, Sri Lanka, and Nigeria, to be able to join virtual courses, learn about analog forestry, and practice it at the same time through internship support. And so in the US and Europe, we are collaborating with partners, weaving together local networks, connecting practitioners committed to restoring ecosystems, and also looking a lot at transforming food systems. These efforts focus on developing food forests as living models of resilience and regeneration, driven by a strong motivation to challenge the impacts of highly industrialized food production that we see in modern days. CHEERS has extended, as I mentioned, its support to diverse practitioners in Kenya, Sri Lanka, and Nigeria this year, so strengthening South and South, North-South collaboration for analog forestry, and I hope this practice will continue in the future. And in these regions, we focused on developing diverse tree guilds. Tree guilds, as you know, are groups of plants that grow together in mutually supportive relationships around a central tree, mimicking the natural structure and cooperation found in forests. Each species plays a role in nourishing the soil, attracting pollinators, repelling pests, or providing food and habitat for others. And so the chosen tribute in these regions is the Tree Guild Award, which goes to all our partners, trainers, training centers, sites, and projects and practitioners present in Europe and North America for creating local groups of organizations with complementary strengths, adapting to diverse ecosystems like the Mediterranean or temperate mid-Atlantic, bringing biodiversity back with native species, producing local sustainable food, adapting to climate change by recreating diverse ecosystems, and in a spirit of solidarity, supporting analog forestry initiatives across the world. So congratulations to all of you. And with the next slide, I pass the word to Lorena Gamboa again to present the next award.
Thank you, Luby. And yes, analog forestry also means productivity within a sustainable system that not only sustains biodiversity, but also promotes the generation of a diverse range of clean and healthy products for food sovereignty and for income generation through sales on local, national, and international markets. For example, here we can see some of the emblematic FGP certified products. One is Guarana in the photo, in the two photos at up right and down left. Guarana is emblematic product from the Sateremaué, is cultivated in the analog forest in Brazil. The Sateremaué consider themselves children of the Guarana, and their culture and traditions are deeply connected with this amazing plant. And in the other two photos, we see the palm, the beautiful Kitul palm, and the production of the Kitul syrup in Mausawa in Sri Lanka. This plant is a native of Sri Lanka and produces a delicious and healthy syrup. It's collected from the flower, and both products are being imported and distributed by Guayapi in France and used and consumed in many countries in Europe, highlighting the value of production with ecosystem restoration. Yeah, we pass. So the Food Forest Award, I have the honor to present it to our analog forestry practitioners farming with the forest. And this is because of designing forests with human needs in mind, producing healthy, abundant, sustainable food while caring for biodiversity, improving livelihoods for indigenous peoples and local communities, promoting fair value chains based on biodiversity, fostering food autonomy, creating opportunities for rural groups, especially women. And so I have to mention here Guayapi, and Claudia is here accompanying us, the head of this amazing company who has been the backbone, I must say, behind the Forest Garden Product Certification and promoting and making this brand, this label alive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lorena, for guiding us through the Food Forest Award. And so next, we are going to dedicate the next award to our donors and allies, those who have walked beside us, strengthening our roots and helping our work to grow. Their generosity and trust have been essential in building everything we celebrate tonight. Our donors have supported our work in many ways, not only as funding and financing partners, but as allies, ensuring that resources reach grassroots groups and local leaders, especially women who are implementing analog forestry on the ground. One of these key partnerships is within the Global Alliance for Green and Gender Action, GAGA, of which IFN has been a proud member since 2016. And we are going to dedicate all of you that you can see on the slide on the screen a Keystone Species Award, because a keystone species is a species that has a disproportionately large impact on its ecosystem, meaning that even if it's not the most abundant, its presence and actions are essential for maintaining the structure, the balance, and diversity of the entire community. For example, bees pollinate plants that feed countless other species. And so with this, we are giving the Keystone Species Award to our donors and supporters throughout all these years for bringing back healthy forests across the globe, contributing to climate change mitigation and adaptation, transforming lives and livelihoods and landscapes, getting money directly to community-led restoration projects, supporting a strong network of grassroots organizations, contributing to a more socially, environmentally, and gender-just world. And we want to symbolize that these donors and supporters are really play a vital sustaining role within the whole analog forestry network. So thank you very much for your contributions that help to help our community together, support each other, and make the whole system thrive. Thank you. And I give it back to you, Virginie.
Thank you so much, Luby, for the beautiful facilitation of this humble ceremony that we wanted to give everyone who is part of our network and who has built this history that we are celebrating today. And now we have a question that we have been answering collectively. What does the future that we are building look like? What does it feel like? And how can we envision it collectively? Artistic expression is at the heart of our human experience, and it has the power to connect us with each other and with our goals, with our common goals. This year, in celebration of our 30th anniversary and supported by the talent of Indian artist Sonakshi Iyengar and French Ecuadorian artist Marie Piedra, we have collectively captured the essence of what brings us together. All of our partners participated by sharing plant species that are important to them, people that they wanted to honor, actions and feelings that they feel must be represented to show what and who we are. And that is how you can see on the screen some images and some actions and some people that our dear partner organizations shared to create illustrations. Each of the images became a symbolic illustration of our essence, of what we are, of what we do, of how we transform our territories and who does it. And today we wanted to give this to you as a small gift. It's a collective illustration that was created to represent the essence of our collective actions, to connect us to this hope and this and these actions that we are collectively doing together. You will receive a link in the chat to download it. It is yours. Please use it however best you can. Use it in every space that you might need it. It is today becoming a symbol of our beautiful network and all the people that make it possible. So this was a small gift for today, to a virtual gift, but that hopefully we will be able to print out everywhere in an array of materials for you in your actions. And now I am giving the floor to Isabel to introduce our next section, where you will get to know more about precisely this impact.
So we now invite members of our team to present the results of our Global Restore Fund case study, el estudio de caso global sobre el Fondo de Restauración. And I pass the word to Marianne and Eduardo.
Hola, hola. Just so you know, and for interpretation purposes, I'm going to be speaking in Spanish to give some breathing space to the interpreter for her brain, and because we have a lot of Spanish speakers. But I need to turn off the interpretation because I'm hearing Alina. Ahora sí, gracias Alina. Bueno, hola a todos, me da mucho gusto que estén acá tanta gente reunida y pues que podamos celebrar juntos este logro, ¿no? De llegar a 30 años, que no es poca cosa. Y bueno, una de las cosas importantes del trabajo de la red de los últimos años ha sido sin duda este fondo de restauración que pues de alguna manera le ha venido a dar forma, a fortalecer lo que sería la implementación en campo, ¿no? Como bien saben, el tema de la forestería análoga, pues más allá de enseñar la metodología o de mantenerla viva, evolucionando, etcétera, tiene el componente que no es menos importante, que es de experimentar, ponerlo en campo, ¿no? Entonces, desde el 2022 hemos venido promoviendo de manera sostenida el Fondo de Restauración, que el objetivo básicamente es apoyar a organizaciones directamente en las comunidades, en campo, con proyectos de forestería análoga y pequeños fondos, que como pueden ver ahí en la filmina, esos han sido los donantes hasta el momento y, pues queremos también generar un impulso para atraer más financiamiento. Este, que incluyen acciones tan básicas desde la siembra o instalación de invernaderos hasta cosas que parecieran fuera de un proyecto de restauración, como cercar el espacio, ¿no? Para evitar que animales o así creen algún daño a la parcela. Y el objetivo de este informe que ha venido haciendo Mariane, que les va a presentar de aquí a poco, básicamente es resumir esos esfuerzos que han venido dándose desde el 2022 hasta el año pasado, así que en realidad no incluye los datos de este año. Y con tres ejes principales, ¿no? Como fundamento, que sería tanto el aumento de biodiversidad, el fortalecimiento de la soberanía alimentaria, como la justicia social y de género. Y lo que queremos es demostrar en esencia que la forestería análoga es una solución climática que promueve no solo la defensa de los ecosistemas y la restauración, sino que pone al centro a las personas, a los pueblos y al planeta, ¿no? Si me pueden pasar la siguiente filmina, por favor. Entonces, en este mapa que Virginie nos ha hecho, podemos ver los países en los que se ha estado promoviendo este fondo, que en este momento hay 23, aunque el informe va a abarcar 20. Tres países de África, Benín, Mali y se me va el otro ahorita, pero básicamente han sido 23 países a lo largo de estos 3 años con pequeños fondos, como les decía. Si podemos pasar a la siguiente filmina. Y espérame un segundo. Virginie, no están escuchando en francés. Es lo que me estás tratando de decir. Perdón porque no puedo ver el chat.
No, está bien, sino que también tenemos interpretación al francés, entonces es un poco más fácil si lo hablas en inglés.
Ah, va. Bueno, pensé que podían hacer relay. Bueno, entonces, just going back to English, Halina, just so you know. Ahí me escucharon un ratito en español. So back to English. Basically, the key results of these global, as we call it, global case study, is that there has been thousands of seedlings planted in different, again, in the 23 countries with like over 13 square meters, 1,300 square meters along estuary and riverbank with over 300 native plant species and a lot of hectares, 3 hectares with 10,000 mangrove plants, 400 varieties of fruit and herbal plants. I mean, you can read it, but I can say it too. And all these fencing, 500 meters and 200 meters of protective fence around deforestation areas. These are just like a summary of all the different actions and just kind of trying to focus on the numbers. But I think the impact must be seen also from a perspective of, for example, women leadership and so on and so forth. And if we go to the next slide, this actually, could you put the next slide? Thank you. This was summarized last year, and I will kind of expand further on how we collect the data. But last year for the Biodiversity Cup in Colombia, where me and Virginia attended, we created a number of case studies prioritizing 3 regions, Africa, Latin America, and Asia, where we were able to collect or put together information from Uganda, and we have here John Kaganga today, who will speak to us in a bit. And we also did a case study in Peru. I think Carolina is here as well. And another one in Nepal. So these 3 case studies are basically trying to show what I told you at the beginning, the 3 components of what we tried to aim with this Restore Fund, right? The increase of biodiversity, the gender justice aspect, and the food sovereignty aspect. So I think we can leave this for a couple more seconds. So you can, if you haven't seen this report, you can copy the QR code and check out the report. Otherwise, we can obviously send it to you via email if you send us an email, or it's on our website, share it broadly. But this report speaks specifically to the results or achievements that have been gained by having this very small funding, which is up to $2,000 to $2,500, which shows that with little money, there can be a lot of things done. Can we move to the next slide? So what we call here the methodological framework basically tries to, at the same time as we promote small funding, direct access of funding to communities and locally led initiatives, because we also believe it's important that the money, especially in this context of climate change, needs to reach directly the people who are implementing these solutions. We also try to keep track of the progress and the changes that are happening through what we call methodological framework, which basically focuses on 4 dimensions, or 5, of which I mentioned 3 already. The biodiversity, which is basically ecological environmental restoration, and regeneration. We try to keep track through the methodology of agroforestry, how this increase is actually something we can not only be proud of, but actually promote further investment from other donors to continue doing our work. Also, the health and well-being of the people who are implementing these projects. And then there's the food sovereignty aspect, of which Marianne will speak to you briefly, and the economic sustainability, both linked to not just the restoration aspect of degraded land, but the possibility to generate alternatives for the people who live in those places. And finally, there's the social organization, where we try to promote, as we were saying, women and youth leadership, and try to include also the most vulnerable corners of society. So these methodological framework, which is kind of like a work in progress or a living organism, if you will, is how we try to demonstrate the strength of the methodology, the success and the impact, and we will continue using it and strengthening so that we can also continue creating a broader project leaders base of the Restore Fund. So with that, I think I'll pass it on to Marianne so she can tell us a little bit more about the specifics of the Restore Fund.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. But just so you know exactly what it is, up to date, there are 5 grant cycles. It started in 2023. And what you're going to see now, the impact and the data, is only until June 2025. So the rest of the grants that we have for this year, we're now up to 80 grants, but this analysis was only for the 45 first. And it embarks 42 organizations and 20 countries, but we're now at 23 countries. 3 new countries that are Nigeria, Benin, and Mali that have been added this year. And just so you know, also all the data that you'll see is with only $90,000. This is all that we have been able to achieve. Now, a bit of the key highlights that the report showed on food sovereignty. What is very interesting is to see that half of the projects are producing up to 50% of the food they consume, them and their family. on their analog farm. So it's really great to see that half of the projects can consume their own food they produce, and also the other half they also have 80% of the food they produce. Some of them have 100% of the food they consume. They produce on their farm. So that is a great indicator of growing food sovereignty. Also, another nice key highlight is that 71% of the project are now linking an economic activity to their restored land. So with the small initial investment, they generate income from that analog forest. Finally, for food sovereignty, most of the projects have an intermediate diversity of crops. That's from 16 to 15 types of crops per project. So that is also very interesting to see the diversity of plants that have been planted on the Restore Fund projects. And now, as for biodiversity, as you know, the method allows increase in biodiversity over the years. The Restart Fund is only 3 years old. It's like and there's small grants, but some of the project leaders already see more birds, more insects, plants, and flowers. So the monitoring at a larger scale and time will be important to keep monitoring this biodiversity increase. But for now, we see that there are 250 different plant species that have been planted in the areas of the project. And the area is 143 hectares that are covered by the project up until now. And next, Virginie. Thank you. Another key indicator that Eduardo mentioned is social and gender justice. And as Bastien mentioned at the beginning of the ceremony, 64% of the project of the Restore Fund are led by women, 44 by indigenous people, and 33 by youth. So this is also a great impact of the Restore Fund that is led by women, indigenous, and youth. And the projects also count with a lot of ally organization. So overall, the 45 project, they count 65 ally organization that are women's group, local community organization, NGOs that all help out around the Restore funds, around the seed grants. And the projects all show high engagement with direct participation of neighbors, volunteer work, and the people they provide resources, trainings, tools. So there's a high engagement around those projects. And now, as a bit of a testimony, I was saying earlier that some of the projects they have a good they produce a lot of the food they consume on their land. This is the case of project leader Unicer Martinez from Honduras that produces 80% of the food his house consumes on his analog farm. And he also produces the seeds that he uses each year, so he doesn't have to buy them from the market. And that is also one step further to food sovereignty. Now again, another testimony from the project leaders of the Restore Fund. This one is related more to biodiversity. So Galo Chiriboga from Ecuador says he has seen species of birds that he hasn't seen before in the forest that has started to come to his plot, and that the trees are now 18 to 20 meters high. Next slide, Virginie. Thank you. And now I'll leave a word to Marisol Angulo that will speak about a bit about the impacts of the Restore Fund she received at her Bosque Análogo San Jorge in Ecuador.
Muy buenos días. Ahí
Buenos
estamos.
días, Marisol. Estamos bien, te escuchamos.
Sí, buenos días. Feliz aquí en este momento de celebración de vida y para informarles lo que venimos haciendo aquí en el Ecuador, en la provincia de Santo Domingo de los Áchilas. Permítame hacer un pequeñito resumen del origen. Con los bosques análogos nosotros aportamos, fortalecemos y diversificamos. Con esto aseguramos también el alimento a perpetuidad, tanto para los animales como para los seres humanos. Todos estos seres vivos que se encuentran en este ecosistema, que se han venido formando a partir del 2019 más o menos, en donde conocimos por primera vez sobre la forestería análoga aquí en la provincia de Santo Domingo de los Áchilas, con nuestro creador originario de esta técnica, como es el señor Ranil Sananayake. Entonces, desde ahí empezamos y cambió nuestra visión de ver los bosques únicamente como árboles, cuando eso era solo el 1%, y Ranil nos dijo, el 99% les falta. Y hemos venido trabajando entonces todo eso, y ahí es en donde hemos encontrado plantas ya en extinción, en semáforo rojo, unas, otras en estado crítico, y las hemos traído y las hemos ido incrementando en nuestro bosque análogo. Este bosque análogo ha servido para visitas continuas de estudiantes, de público en general, para conocer los servicios ecosistémicos de este bosque. Y de ahí nace entonces aquí en este bosque análogo el Bosque Escuela San Jorge, en donde se ha hecho un aula abierta para enseñar a los estudiantes, al público en general, a todos los que desean conocer un laboratorio viviente. También hemos formado una segunda parcela con los fondos, hemos formado una segunda parcela en donde hay mucha biodiversidad ya, mucha biodiversidad, como dice nuestro gestor de la refa, Galo Chiriboga, ya están viniendo nuevas aves, nuevos mamíferos, lo que no se veía antes. Entonces, esta flora y esta fauna sigue en aumento. Formándose así, hace unos 2 meses nos declaran el gobierno provincial a este bosque análogo ACUS, Área de Conservación de Uso Sostenible, porque ya vemos aquí mayor diversidad de flora y de fauna, que será como un banco de semillas para los próximos bosques aledaños. Todo esto se ha logrado también por intermedio de los intercambios de semillas que hemos hecho de manera local, regional y de manera aquí interna en el Ecuador. Eso se ha logrado, toda esa biodiversidad con este sistema. Cuando nos llega felizmente el Fondo Semilla, entonces nosotros ya ampliamos hacia nuestros vecinos un proyecto para formar un biocorredor, y es con la comunidad Sachilachihuilpe, en donde empezamos desde el mes de marzo a trabajar con ellos, y hasta el momento ya hemos logrado, aparte de la concientización y el conocimiento de la forestería análoga, como teoría, aplicarla y aterrizarla ya en 3 pequeños bosques, cada uno de más o menos unas 2 y 3 hectáreas, de 3 niños que participaron en los inicios de los talleres. También se ha formado, con este fondo hemos podido hacer una cartilla, un manual para llegar de una manera mucho más didáctica a la comunidad Sáchila, y de ahí nace el Club Ambiental Helen Moín, que significa alma de la selva. Es decir, que cuando ya nosotros nos retiremos, ¿sí?, de este año, ya con el proyecto, ya no estemos directamente, esto seguirá caminando porque ya hay un equipo formado, ya hay un cuartel de guardianes de la naturaleza con la herramienta de la forestería análoga, que van a continuar haciendo más bosques en su comuna. Por eso mi agradecimiento para este Fondo Semilla, que se logró aterrizar cerca de lo nuestro, porque dice, nadie es profeta en su propia tierra. Pues sí podemos ser profetas de nuestra propia tierra, y eso ha hecho este Bosque Análogo San Jorge con nuestros vecinos de la comunidad Sáchila, para con esto, a posterior, formar un biocorredor. Eso les puedo informar. Y nuestro agradecimiento y el de la Comuna Chihuilpe también, el agradecimiento profundo por este fondo que ha logrado hacer este gran proyecto de vida. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Marisol. Ahí, muchos aplausos. Estamos felices. Oh, sorry, I'll continue in English. So we're happy to hear about the testimony. Nothing speaks more than real testimonies, even more than the numbers that I've just shown. So thank you so much for speaking about the impacts of the Restore Fund projects in Ecuador. So Virginie, the next slide, please. Now we also have the chance to have John Kaganga with us. Also is a project leader for one of the Restore Fund seed grants. And John, if you want to speak a few minutes about the impacts of your project, I can give you a word.
Environmental Association, and I'm very grateful to join the whole International Forest Network family to celebrate the 30 years. I came to learn about international analog forestry and analog forestry in 2014 when I was invited by National Association of Professional Environment and the SENDEP, led by Perry and at both ends, when they organized a training in Uganda. And since then, we have been assisted with analog forests, and we have developed a lot. Do you hear me? Hello?
I do hear you,
Hello?
John.
You hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we do.
Can I go
You still
ahead?
have 1 minute. Thank you.
Okay. Now, we have improved our ecosystem restoration. People have increased on their food production. And when we accessed Restore Fund has also helped us so much because it seems as a small amount of money, but it has helped us to expand and to expand and upscale our activities of international agroforestry. And people have added a lot of knowledge how to restore, how to conserve the environment, how to improve on people's livelihood. Therefore, we are very grateful to join this celebration. And I am so grateful, and I have to take this opportunity to thank the management of International Agroforestry. When you decided to take a case study, which was conducted in Uganda for the three countries, Peru, Uganda, and Nepal, it has also assisted us to upscale the information, because the information and of analog forestry in Uganda was not yet on a higher level, but now it has also helped us to do some advocacy. And I am hoping that in the coming years, we will upscale analog forestry throughout the country. And also I thank all the people whom I have been working with, like Sarah Chisoro from Solonko Mbare, and then Ndagire, you saw Ndagire, but unfortunately is very sick, and you pray for her. And also one of our founder for NAPE, National Professional Environmentalists, died recently. Those are bad news, but all the same, for us, we will remain taking over all the work they have been doing, and I know we are going to succeed because we are so eager to promote international analog forestry throughout Uganda and beyond. Thank you so much for giving me this time.
Thank you so much, John, for your time also and for your testimony. We're sending thoughts and prayers also your way. And thank you again. We'll pass now after the and a bit of the report data that I have shared with you. A few actions and priorities came out of this report, especially for the Restart Fund, but also for a stronger monitoring system. So one of the actions and priorities that we have is to offer longer duration projects. So currently, right now, we have only 1 year duration projects, which are short term. We would like to be able to offer a bit more, a longer duration projects. Also to provide governance support to our organization, especially towards women's leadership, and ensure more presence of trainers on the fields, trainings, and to support also monitoring. And another recommendation or priority that we would like to work on is for a stronger monitoring system, being able to ensure multi-year tracking. As you know, it's only 3 years now, but being able to track the analog forestry projects throughout after 5 years, 10 years. So that would be an ultimate goal. Also expand ecological and gender sensitive indicators. We do already have, but to be able to include it more, to strengthen even more the impact and evidence of analog forestry methodology. And that being said, all these priorities and actions need to be supported. So as you see, the impact of the projects and all that was realized with only $90,000 invested in 3 years. So on 143 hectares that are currently being restored. And just so you know what, in your imagination, what 143 hectares look like, it's about 360 football fields, one aligned after the other. You can see the last one, but it's a very large, it's a very large piece of land, and the average cost of restoring 1 hectare, thanks to the Restore Fund, is approximately $600. So this leads to the importance of the support that we need to keep going on with this project. And I'll pass the word to Eduardo that can speak donation campaign, small money, big impact.
Thank you, Mariani. And because we have very little time left and we'd like to hear from you, I'm just going to be very brief. And I hate talking about money, right? Everybody hates talking about money, but no money, no honey, as they say. Basically, if we continue in this route, we see that the money isn't that much and the impacts can be greater. Imagine what we could do if we had more and we could support more project leaders on the ground, etc. So we have created for this purpose, and I think the links will be shared in the chat very soon, what we call a donation campaign, like a individual donation campaign through PayPal or Bankwire that you can also share with your, with your contacts, with your partners, with your potential donors, or put us in contact with your donors. We gladly make connections. As we are headed into a new phase where the IFN tries to, diversify its funding sources. So with this logo, which is also part of related to this case studies that we have created and other case studies that we did together with Gaga, which I don't know if we're going to be sharing as well the links. We leave you with this link. Hopefully we'll be able to create a momentum and be able to further promote more restoration in on the ground directly with our partners and friends. So with that, I will pass it on back to Virginie, and I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Marianne, Eduardo, Marisol, John, and everybody who is part of the success of this Restore Fund. I think that from all the interventions today, you were able to see that this is one of the strategies that we want to keep prioritizing. We want to keep making all of your projects possible on the ground, and that is how we look into the future as well. We have about a bit over 10 minutes left, so we just want to let you speak if you wish to. If you wish to say something, ask something, give a message for the 30 years, feel free to open your microphones, raise your hands, and participate. We've seen that you've already been speaking in the chat, which is a beautiful, it always happens in our events, and that's the goal as well. So, but now if you wish to speak to everybody, please feel free to do so now in the language that you wish to use. Whether it's a question or a comment or a short message.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm Jayant from Sri Lanka.
Welcome, go ahead.
Yes, actually, I am fortunate to what we call watch your effort done over the 3 decades. I appreciate your work. Dr. Ranil, as the founder of this organization, I know him give a scientific definition of our ancestral knowledge, what co-evolved thousands of years in Sri Lanka. So we have a responsibility to continue this and allow to co-evolution further and further, and share this information and knowledge with the global community to face upcoming challenges. So I think all the whatever the limits or the challenges, we will able to through the give some answer through the human innovation and inventions. So now we are facing in the AI and quantum AI era, or near future will come the what we call super intelligent also, we hope. So all the gathering this, synthesizing this, all the technological development into this sector, we as a Green Technology Forum as organization, we hope to what we call develop strategies, technologies as a system, human ecological system, analog forestry as a human ecological dynamic system. We hope to develop kind of kind of technologies or strategies collaborating with the global community, and I appreciate again you, and I wish you all the success as a native Sri Lankan. So we are again, I want to appreciate the role of our Dr. Ranil and all of you. So I hope to join with you in future. And if we can give any help as organization or individual, we are ready to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think your words resound with everyone here about the responsibility that we have to keep doing this work together. So thank you for being here and for these kind words. And I think now we have Galo in the queue, and after him, Michael.
Hola con todos, yo voy a hablar en español. Quería más que nada hacer un agradecimiento por las personas que también están detrás de este sistema tan hermoso que nos ha juntado este día. Agradecerles a todos, a Lorena, a Luby, a Isa, a Virginie, a Eduardo, sobre todo a Ranil, por hacer esto todo posible, ¿no? Y creo que esto es lo que hace que un sistema también pueda perdurar en el tiempo, es la calidad de personas, y yo siento que ha sido súper lindo poder trabajar con todos, y es más un trabajo que se siente que es desde el corazón. Así que yo creo que es un tema de agradecimiento también al equipo que ha estado detrás de todos estos procesos, y nada, agradecerles full. Un abrazo grande.
Un abrazo también, Galo. Muchas gracias a ti por todo el trabajo que haces liderando la REFA en Ecuador, que es por ahora nuestra única red oficial de país, pero muchas están como creciendo en los diferentes espacios. Así que gracias a ti también. And Michael, I think you are next in line. And then Claudie and Carolina. Michael, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very grateful to be part of the Analog Forestry family. Thank you for this celebration of our 30th anniversary. I must say it's been an honor to walk through this journey for the last 10 years because I was part of the training in Belipola in 2014. We were honored, 5 of us from Cameroon. And since then, the journey has just been very, very wonderful on my part. In our own small operation of influence, we started shed tea and some demonstration site in the Southwest. Even though after operation for about 5 years, we were hit by the current crisis in Cameroon. We have been staying steadfast and doing things under the shadow, and with the support of the recent funds from Gaga, we have been able to restart our activity again, and through the connection that we emphasize, we're able to bring some of the practitioners together to help our site. I must say, Analog Forestry has really transformed my understanding because I'm a plant scientist, and currently now I'm undertaking my studies in ecology. So Analog Forestry is that platform that I feel like we have to really elevate it, just like my brother from Uganda said. We have to elevate it to the knowledge of academic individuals and all the practitioners around the world. I'm grateful for this opportunity to share my experience with Analog Forestry. Congratulations to everyone that was part of the celebration today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for participating, and sending you lots of strength and energy to keep going with your projects. And let's keep in touch about how it goes. And next in line, we have Claudie Ravel. Go ahead, Claudie.
I shall speak in French. Je voulais vraiment remercier profondément Ranil de l'initiative qu'il a eue dans sa vie, de ses convictions, de nous avoir tous entraînés dans ses convictions et applications ensuite, et bien sûr féliciter tous les acteurs ici que je rencontre. J'ai eu la chance de rejoindre l'IAFN en tant que personne commerciale, structure commerciale, et je voudrais vraiment remercier tous ces producteurs qui travaillent la terre, que je peux vivre quand je vais au Sri Lanka ou en Amazonie. Et merci pour le travail fait. Merci Lorena, merci Virginie, merci Isabelle, tant de personnes, et Milo, que j'ai eu la chance aussi de croiser plusieurs fois. Bravo à tous. Et je pense qu'il faut continuer. Pour ma part, je vais continuer à essayer de diffuser le plus largement possible en France, mais en Europe aussi, et à travers le monde, à chaque fois que je rencontrerai dans ce monde tout un tas d'autres personnes qui doivent être absolument sensibilisées sur cet énorme programme qui a été généré par Ranil et suivi par vous tous ici. Merci à tous. Au revoir.
Merci beaucoup, Claudie. Thank you very much for this heartfelt testimony and for the long-standing work that you are doing with our network. And then I'm going to give the floor to Carolina Llerena.
Gracias, Virginie. Bueno, yo quería, en primer lugar, quería felicitar a la rifa, ¿no? Que ahora todos somos parte de ella, ¿no? Entonces, felicitarnos a todos por este gran trabajo que venimos haciendo, algunos con poquito tiempo, algunos con mucho más tiempo, ¿no? Ya tiene 30 años esta gran red y no es poco tiempo, ¿no? Es un gran logro llegar a esta edad, por así decirlo, en un mundo que cambia tan rápido, en un mundo que promueve la destrucción tanto, ¿no? Y nosotros seguimos luchando por la regeneración, ya sea de espacios pequeños, de espacios grandes, a nivel de chacras familiares y a nivel de paisaje, ¿no? Entonces, primero quiero felicitarnos a todos nosotros, felicitar a todos también los que están detrás de esta gran red, ¿no? Porque sí, hay gente que está liderándola y no es fácil tampoco porque vemos las reuniones virtuales también que tampoco son sencillas de hacerlas, ¿no? Es definitivamente sería hermoso poder estar todos juntos en un lugar y poder hacer la celebración presencialmente, pero ahorita estamos acá, ¿no? Y gracias a la tecnología también logramos atravesar fronteras y vernos al menos en unos cuadraditos en esta pantalla. Así que gracias a todos, a Virginie, a Isabel, a Marianne, a todos los miembros de la red que están dentro de esta organización. Y también quiero agradecer a Tati, porque Tatiana Espinosa fue quien nos presentó a nosotros la rifa hace 7 años, ¿no? Justo hoy día me salió uno de estos recuerdos que salen en Facebook y salió una foto de hace 7 años, cuando conocimos a Tati y Tati nos habló de la rifa y bueno, mira, ahora estamos acá, ¿no? Ya van 2 años en que somos beneficiarios del Fondo Semilla. eh, y sí, quiero mencionar que estos fondos también son súper importantes porque nos motivan a seguir con nuestros trabajos de restauración a pequeña escala, a gran escala otra vez, ¿no? Y eso es algo súper, súper, súper importante y súper poderoso. Gracias a la rifa, gracias a todos y qué bien que estamos acá y que somos parte de esta gran red porque esta red también nos fortalece, ¿no? Desde donde estamos, desde nuestros territorios, desde nuestros espacios, podemos seguir haciendo algo por este planeta que es nuestra gran casa, ¿no? Y a través de esta red seguir conectados y seguir aprendiendo de todas nuestras experiencias, definitivamente hay cosas que nos salen bien, hay cosas que nos salen mal, pero lo importante es este aprendizaje. Y bueno, gracias nuevamente y espero pronto conocernos en persona. Felicidades.
Gracias, Carolina, siempre con tus lindas palabras. Y ahí en Perú también se está consolidando inicios de redes para seguir apoyándonos. I want to thank you all very much. We only have a minute left, but I would like to maybe invite you to turn your cameras on to take a group picture before we say goodbye with a poem that Milo is generously giving to us on that day. Hi, Rido, I had not seen you. Good that you are here. And now I'm going to take the picture. I'm going to count to 3 and I'm going to take several panels of you. So please smile for a minute. So I'm going to take the picture 1, 2, and 3. First group is okay now. And for the second group, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the picture is now taken. Thank you so much also to our very flexible and competent interpreters, Alina and Anas, who have juggled between languages, and their work is fundamental for us to be able to communicate despite the many languages that we are using to do so. Thank you so much for your role in this. And now we are going to say goodbye with a very beautiful poem that was written and read by Milo Bickins. And we are going to leave you with this beautiful impression and sentiment for our common work.
Cicada species of the rainforest food chain will roam again today. El Huaco, the laughing falcon, If he perches on a dry branch and cries, "Wacko, wacko, wacko," it means that the rains are coming. If he sits on a green branch, it'll sing dry days ahead. As the falcon releases another round of laughter, the king snake better be aware that danger is lurking. I'm like an artist with my color palette in my hand, embracing the diverse abundance of colors within the analog forestry designs of our farm. With my work ever unfinished on the farm, there's no time to rest on our laurels. The architectonic structure of the analog forest requires a gap analysis and subsequent improvement every year. The forest farm is now a living being for our delight and with its blessed exponential increment in biodiversity. Can you smell our anthropogenic forest? Its essences connect us with our childhood. Breathe deeply and with joy, because the oxygen produced last night that feeds your blood today was once a leaf activated by the sun.
Thank you so much, Milo. I know you are here and listening also. This poem is also available in Spanish and in French, thanks to Anas. So thank you so much. This was a beautiful conclusion to our gathering, which has now come to an end. So thank you so much. It was very beautiful to share this special moment with you, to see and hear you from all over the world, and see your smiling faces. I hope you are leaving this gathering inspired, and I wish you the best in the rest
Gracias,
of the work
niñas.
that we have to do.
Gracias. Yeah.
Bye.
Merci
Ciao.
beaucoup.
Bye, everyone.
Gracias.
Chao,
See
gracias.
you soon.
Adiós, pronto nos
See you,
veremos.
everyone.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Chao, muchas gracias.
Bye.
Feliz. Gracias.
Ciao.
Chao. Abrazos.
Hey, Eric. Eric.
Hi, Eric. Good that you were able to connect.
Qué gusto, qué emoción compartir.
¿Verdad? Nos vemos